What's up, guys? Ugh, dude. I am sick again. This is like the third time I've been sick in like 2 months. I really can't believe I'm sick again, man. This sucks. We got AT&T earnings today. Durable good orders, Meta earnings, Boeing earnings today. I don't know what to do. I'm trying to stream. I don't feel 100% though, man. I've been running 101 fever. At least last night before I went to bed, I was. Ugh. Get some music playing in a second. It's the same thing my daughter's sick right now too. She had to go to the hospital yesterday. It just was a mess, man. Oh, all right. So I think AT&T released their earnings. Let me get some music playing. Humana is out with their numbers. They posted 723 versus 612 EPS. Revenue of 29.6 bill. They expected 28 point something billion, so better than expected EPS and revenue. Revised fiscal year 24 EPS guidance to approximately 13.93. So lower guidance for Humana. Hasbro also out 61 EPS versus 27. Expected revenue of 75 cent or 7.75, 750 million. They expected 740 million. They affirmed guidance. They said, quote, "We made solid progress and a turnaround in the first quarter." I'm pretty sure AT&T's out. At least they're moving like AT&T is out with their numbers. We had Tesla numbers. Tesla up a lot this morning, of course. You can see it. Yeah, so AT&T missed EPS, missed revenue. You know, like, yeah, people telling me to take the day off. I'm good. I don't feel bad enough. It's weird. Like, I felt better this morning when I woke up than I did last night when I went to sleep. So, I feel better this morning. I don't feel bad enough to miss work, but I'm not really looking forward to it. I'm just cold, man. I'm cold. I don't know if I should drink coffee either, to be honest. Just gonna drink water. Oh, man. What's up, Time? Beach Bum, Camp, Pawn. Jose, Liv, Jojo, Mark, Jay, Alyssa, Gia. What's up, team? Yeah, Tesla's up a lot. I tried to tell people, man, you know, it's one of those things where, like, I think people can get gullible on either side of the spectrum of stocks, right? Like, I think they can get gullible as long traders and as bear traders. And typically, the arrogance of bearish traders are kind of funny. Because a lot of the time, they're the ones that show up and they just tell you they know 100% what's going to happen. And then when it doesn't happen and when Tesla ends up gapping up really big from it, it's just kind of crickets. It's just kind of silence. Yeah, I mean, I'm running like 101 fever, though. It's weird, my sinuses are fine, though. Like, my sinuses aren't stopped up. My throat doesn't hurt. Yeah. Good luck, William. I'll put 3 charts up. We also have Boeing coming out with earnings today as well here. So here's Boeing. I see Boeing gapping up. I don't think its earnings are out yet. They're not scheduled to release for another hour for Boeing. Yeah, so I'm seeing the Ryanair CEO said we will continue to be Boeing's largest customer outside of America. He said that it doesn't make a lot of difference if Boeing owns Spirit Airlines, but quality control needs to be improved. They said we've been finding a lot of the production issues ourselves. Quality controls haven't been very good with Boeing. And then he said it will take 12 to 18 months for them to eliminate backlogs and deliveries. They're scheduled to release their earnings in about an hour at 7:30. Yeah, I mean, we'll see if Tesla even holds. So again, we'll see if Tesla even holds. That's something that I would pay attention to. You know, it's very possible that Tesla gives some of it back this morning. So, you know, just be careful. We're green in our Tesla position, but just be careful, guys. All right, Chad. So again, Boeing is up though. You know, Boeing gapping up. I think Boeing's down so much. You know, I originally held this position at like 200s, sold it once it started to really break under like 190s. I didn't feel like holding it for that long. I think it was just down too much, and they've had a really rough, you know, couple months here. To be honest, like if you look at a 90-day chart, really rough couple months. And so yeah, we'll see what happens. They're scheduled to report their earnings at 7:30. 7:30. All right, chat. All right, guys. So look at AT&T. It's bounced all the way back up here. It's at 1640s now for AT&T. 1640s. Again, it's bounced all the way back up here for AT&T. I'm trying to see if there's a reason for that or if people just kind of bought up the dip. You know, I don't know. All right, chat. All right, so we did bounce up. We're at 1645s. Again, I'm up a lot today in my portfolio and equities as well. Specifically, like Baba is up. I'm green in my Alibaba trade. I don't know whether I should take some more off of Home Depot. I did buy some more in Home Depot. We're also... Is this Honeywell? Yeah, we're in Honeywell. We're green. We're in Coca-Cola. We're green. We're in MGM. We're green. We're in Netflix. We're green. Palantir. We're green. Snapchat, we're green. Tesla, green. Tyson Foods, we're green. Look at AT&T all the way back up here, chat. All the way back up. Biogen posted their numbers here. They posted 367 versus 345 EPS. Revenue of 2.29 billion. They expected 2.31. Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing I was saying yesterday, chat. I try to say this multiple times over and over again so people really hear it. Like, again, if you're one of those guys that comes in and acts like you know exactly what Tesla's going to do tomorrow or today, again, it shows a lack of experience in markets. It really does. Like, nobody knows anything about what it's going to do. It really could do anything. It's all up to the whim of shareholders, big shareholders, and that's most of you are not that. And, it's something that you have to just accept the fact that you don't know. The more people come in here and they say, hey, this is going to happen tomorrow, the less credit I give them, because I recognize that experienced traders recognize that they don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So again, if you come in here acting like you just hate it and it's going to crash tomorrow. Again, somebody was here telling me Tesla was going to crash this morning and it's still doing okay. Maybe they were right, though. I don't know. But durable goods orders are exactly what they sound like. I can find some examples of durable goods. That drops at 8:30 today. So yeah, durable good orders are exactly what the name suggests, like long-lasting manufacturing goods, including transportation items, unless it's core durable goods. Essentially, higher durable goods is stronger for the economy. Lower durable goods is weaker for the economy. I don't know whether I should go get a Tylenol. It's kind of early for a Tylenol. I haven't sipped my coffee yet. What do you guys think? Look at AT&T, though. It's ripping up. AT&T had bad earnings, too. They had good adjusted EPS guidance, though. Their 2024 outlook, they see adjusted EPS at 225 versus 207. So much better than expected guidance for AT&T. Worse historical numbers, though. They had bad EPS, bad revenue historicals. So, again, we'll see what happens there. Today we have Meta earnings this evening. That's kind of the big one, is Meta earnings. Well, they had good guidance, MC. So, yeah, they did miss both. They missed revenue and EPS. Again, historical revenue and EPS. Their future guidance for 2024 outlook was good. They posted 225 adjusted EPS outlook for 2024 versus 207 expected. So, my wife actually drinks that same cocktail time. Every morning she'll drink that. She'll drink water, lemon, honey. She'll drink it. She'll also put a little bit of she'll also put a little bit of that other it's like orange. I can't remember what it is, man. I know what it is. I just can't think of the name. It's like another immune booster, anti-inflammatory liquid. But she'll put all that stuff in it. She's, not tea. She won't put tea in it. She'll put water, lemon, honey, cayenne, and then one other thing I can't think of. Turmeric. Yeah, that's right. Turmeric. I'll drink a little bit of it. It's not bad. Yep, everybody knows. That's right. John, do you think Meta will rip? I really don't know. Meta's up a lot over the past year. You know, it's up 400% this year. Not this year, but it's up 400% in the last 52 weeks. And so I really don't know. You know, I think that they are expecting, we can take a look at what they're expecting here. So Meta is expecting this evening 432 EPS, so still a very strong EPS. And if we look at their EPS graph for Meta, you know, they're expecting a decrease just like Tesla did, but that's okay. You know, there's still very strong margins. Of course, you can see it with Meta, very strong margins. Like you can kind of see 530, 430s. So again, they're expecting their second largest quarter ever. Now, this is a lot of this is seasonal because it's quarters, right? So obviously, seasonality plays a factor. Some quarters they're going to do better. Some quarters are going to do worse. But they are expecting 432 EPS on 36 billion in revenue. I'm gonna have to drink my coffee, see if that helps. All right, chat. So again, look at AT&T at 1670s. Tesla still at 162s, doing really well. Let's see if we can break 170s today. We're still waiting for a couple other earnings to drop this morning specifically. Again, this evening we got Ford, IBM, Chipotle, and the big one is Meta. We do have Humana, GD, a couple other ones this morning, but nothing really big, to be honest. The other big one is Boeing. All right, guys. All right, we're at 16.8. Tesla at 162s. Again, Boeing at 171s. We still got to look at the SPY maybe here. Let's see what the SPY says. Meta sitting at 507s ahead of earnings this evening. The SPY still well over 500 at 506 or so. I guess I'm gonna hit my coffee for the first time. AT&T is still running up though. Oh man, coffee tastes good though. All right, guys. AT&T at 16.8. So again, we'll see if it holds, chat. All right, chat. Seven calls at the open. Market has no memory. Yeah, the history doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes. Mark Twain. I'm going to use that quote until I want to stop, I guess. But history doesn't repeat itself, but it certainly rhymes. And that's really true. You see it a lot. Like, it doesn't exactly repeat itself. Nothing does. But it certainly behaves in similar fashions to how it's behaved before. Very famous quote. I think it's Mark Twain that did it. But yeah, very famous quote. AT&T popping up here, guys. Boeing, still waiting on them. Boeing, again, drops in about 30 minutes, chat. 30 minutes. We also have durable good orders at 8:30. Oh, dude. I can't believe I'm sick again, dude. I really can't believe I'm sick again, man. Oh, my gosh, man. It's been a mess, dude. Like, my daughter had to get picked up by an ambulance. My wife was heated. She was mad. Because she scheduled with an urgent care clinic, and she told him that my daughter was worried about, like, her heart was beating fast, so she was worried, right? So we end up going, so that I stay here with my son, because, again, I was still running a fever. And my daughter was running, like, 101 fever. And my wife schedules an appointment with this urgent care doctor and says, hey, like, we need to get an EKG, we need to get an ECG, we need to get, like, testing done to make sure she's okay. And they're like, okay, great, sure. And they're like, my wife's like, yeah, she's really not doing that well. We'll be up there in 15 minutes. And they're like, okay, we'll see her right away. My wife gets there, and when she gets there, the urgent clinic says, oh, our EKG machine's broken. I forgot to tell you. My EKG machine's broken. It's like, what? Like, dude, these places just want money. Like, they don't care whether they're putting you in a bad spot. Like, they just want money. And so my wife literally had to say, okay, well, where's your other location? And they said, oh, our other location's here. My wife calls the other location. They say, hey, we'll get you in right away. My wife brings my daughter there and waits for like 30 plus minutes, you know? And then eventually my daughter just couldn't take it anymore and, like, had to get an ambulance and got to ride in an ambulance. I'm not happy about it because it's going to be super expensive now. Probably cost $4,000 yesterday just to do it. In the end, my daughter was fine. They did a bunch of tests. Everything was okay. She was all right. She probably just got a virus like I have. I'm just so surprised I have a virus again, dude. I've been sick for freaking 3 months straight. Like, off and on, off and on. Ugh. What's up, Jay? Market has no memory. Yeah. They always ask for insurance. Yeah. I mean, I just, like, I'm okay if they want money. But, like, if it's an urgent, like, time-sensitive thing, like, if you have to move with a sense of urgency, I think they need to just be honest and say, hey, like, we're not going to be able to see you, and that's okay. Like, we'd find somebody else. But, you know, again, like, the problem is, like, there's a saturation of those clinics. So, like, there are so many different clinics that they're so competitive that they just want the customer anyway. Like, they don't care if they lie to you to get there. Like, that's the problem. It's BB, Aiden. It's BB. It's triple B. It'll get you the max discount, Aiden. Here, if you want to use my link, you can. But my coupon code is BB. Or no, it's BT. I'm sorry. BT. beginner trading BT. It's also triple B also works. Look, here's the coupon code right here, brother. I'll post it in the chat if you want it. You can also find it in the description. It'll give you the same thing. It's jujitsu. Yeah, I mean, that's another like theory, but my daughter's sick first. So I got this for my daughter. My daughter for the last week has been sick. She had sore throat. Honestly, I didn't think I was going to get sick because she has the same symptoms that I had 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago, I had a nasty virus, that like sore throat. I was literally afraid. You know when you wake up in the middle of the night and you're scared to swallow, your throat hurts so bad? That's what it felt like. I had a high fever. I felt like crap for like a week straight. And then, you know, this is like 2.5, 3 weeks later. Now my daughter showed the exact same symptoms a week ago. Same exact symptoms. So I'm like, okay, it just has a long incubation time or something like that, right? Like maybe it's just a long incubation, and she's got what I had because it mirrored it. It seemed exactly the same. And so I wasn't expecting to get sick here. I haven't really been around my daughter that much over the last week. Like I've hugged her, you know, because she hasn't felt good, and as parents, you got to do what you got to do to comfort your children. But I wasn't expecting to get sick, unfortunately, and now I'm so disappointed. I am. Like, ugh. Boeing earnings is at 7:30. Is there really a hurricane in New York? Yeah, she didn't really have a cough. It was most likely a virus. I still think that, I don't know, man. I really don't know. Look at the SPY. SPY's still right at the previous closing price, though. Tesla's still loving life, though. AT&T has gapped up a lot. Here's the SPY on the left side. I feel better. I feel okay. Like, surprisingly, like yesterday, I spiked 101 fever right as I was going to sleep, right? Like, I cursed up a storm in front of my wife, and I was so mad. I'm the type of person where the way I show emotion is anger, usually. Like, y'all might not realize this, but the way I show emotion is anger, right? I'm not really, I don't cry a lot, and the way I show emotion is anger, you know? And so I was mad, dude, last night. I just can't believe I'm sick again. I really can't. Ugh. Man, sucks. Oh well. Tesla's still testing highs. That's some good news. I'm in Tesla. We're up nice from this position, so that's good. Oh. Yeah, I'm not going to jiu-jitsu, you know. I was fine yesterday. I didn't run a fever, you know. I took my temperature yesterday morning just because my daughter was sick, and my wife made us all take our temperature. And I was fine yesterday morning. But yeah, I'm definitely not going to jiu-jitsu today. There's no way I'd be able to go today, you know. Could be an allergic reaction. I don't have any other symptoms. This is what's weird about this, is that my throat feels fine. My nose isn't stopped up. The only symptom I have is like a low-grade fever, you know? I mean, it depends on what you call low-grade, but like 100, 101. That's the only symptom I have. So, I don't know. But yeah, thinking about it, it could be from jiu-jitsu. Like, nothing spreads illness more than rolling around with a bunch of dudes, I guess. Tesla at 162.50s. Yeah, I mean, I'm not about to talk about that here, brother. Please don't. Way too controversial of a topic, man. Especially here on YouTube. So I'm just going to avoid that topic. Yeah, it could be from the kids, too, for sure. All right, guys, we got about 300. We got a decent amount of people here for freaking 7 a.m. SPY at 506. Visa had a really good earnings report as well. They gapped up to 282s. Tesla's still trying here too. See, I feel like I could have a fever right now though. I don't know whether I should take Tylenol or just let the fever run. I know people tend to like always want to take Tylenol and stuff, but a fever is what's burning out the virus or whatever it is, right? So that's your body's defense for it. If you always push down the fever, then you might take longer to get better. So I might just kind of let it work, not mess with it. What's up, Easy Mike? Alright, I think I made money yesterday. I don't know for sure. I think I made money yesterday. I'll have to go check. I know I made money in equities for sure. Yeah, so we made money. Yeah, we didn't make a lot, I think, but we made some. Kind of small, steady gains. Slow grind. We're going to be day trading today. We'll see how it goes. Tesla stays up at this level until open. I don't know, man. We had a guy that was like really shaming Tesla longs, and he was telling us that Tesla was going to crash this morning at, and so I don't really expect to see him today because Tesla is actually testing highs now. But, sometimes that's what you get. I use Quant Tower. I use a mix of Quant Tower and TD Ameritrade's TOS. Anyone expecting some short squeeze action on Tesla? I don't know about short squeeze. Yeah, Jason, you missed it, dude. Yeah, we had Eli who said that he was in thousands of dollars of put options. And my thing, again, if you guys caught the Tesla stream, I called this move, right? Not even because I think Tesla is strong. I just think people have to understand things. One of the biggest themes of markets is balance. Balance. Blue chip stocks, as much as people might want this to happen, right? Healthy blue chip tech stocks that are part of the Mag 7, which Tesla is, they don't just go to zero. They're not going to drop under 100 and under 50 and then just go to zero. That's just not how it works. Balance is a real theme of markets. And so if you have a stock like Tesla that is down big over the last 6 months, the likelihood that it's going to bounce from there is very high. Very high. It's not a super hard thing to predict either. That's what I told you guys yesterday ahead of the earnings report, that there's some extension on the downside. Tesla has dropped a lot already. It's dropped for the last couple months straight. And, I said almost verbatim this. I said it's very possible that Tesla has bad EPS, bad revenue, misses EPS, misses revenue, and still gaps up 5%. Right, that's very possible, and that's exactly what happened. It had bad EPS, bad revenue, gapped up, more than 5% now, but gapped up enough. So again, I guess my point, the overarching point I try to make here is don't gamble on earnings, man. Why in the world would you buy up? I mean, I think Eli was a little bit different because Eli said that he was in Tesla short put options for weeks prior to that, and he was already up big, and so that has a positive edge, I think, even if he was wrong. I understand that, right? Having a big cushion of profit going into the earnings report. So if you're right, you're really right. If you're wrong, hopefully he's break even. You know what I mean? That's an understandable system and strategy. But buying up huge amounts of put options the day before an earnings call or earnings report is just the silly gambling thing that you should never do. It's just a gamble. It's not. There's no edge is the point. There's really no edge unless you're gonna try to trade extension, like I kind of talked about prior to the stream or prior to the earnings report. Does today's data influence the dollar index? I mean, maybe. Like, maybe. It depends on, like, durable good orders is not a huge release. Meta earnings today is a much larger release. Yeah, what's weird is, like, outside of this fever, I feel okay. Like, I don't feel bad. Like, I almost felt better when I woke up this morning than I did last night when I went to sleep. So hopefully it's just quick and it goes away fast. Yeah, the dollar index usually moves inversely to equities, like to the SPY and Q is what I mean by equities. So, I mean, it depends on the SPY's reaction mostly, you know? Like, there's probably going to be a positive correlation with durable goods as well because it signals economic growth. So, there's probably going to be a positive correlation with durable goods and the Dixie, the dollar index. If you were CEO of a company and you were taking loans out instead of selling them and used it to short, do you get back your original shares? It wouldn't matter. You're going to go to jail, you know. You're going to get lawsuits out the wazoo because other insiders in that company that wanted it to do well, shareholders themselves would sue you, you know. Like, it would never work. You know, you would get charged real quick, you know. John is our think tank. Hey, we try over here. YouTube chat getting you sick from their dumb questions. Hey, top 3 dumbest questions in the world right now. No, I'm just joking. Nah, these questions are fine. I mean, that's what I'm here for. Like, look, I'm here to answer questions and help people, so that's what I'm gonna try to do. What's up, David? Love Chewy, but Amazon will continue to take its market share. Yeah, if Amazon starts selling pet products or continues to sell pet products, Chewy's gonna go away. 100%, without question. And the logic of it makes sense too. And again, I know Ryan Cohen founded Chewy. He's like a big name. It's kind of a cult-like following of Chewy and Ryan Cohen, and I get it, right? I'm for punishing the hedgies, you know. But the problem is that this is the argument against Chewy. Okay, makes perfect sense. Here's the argument. All right, and we're in Chewy long right now. Okay, just to put it into perspective, we're in Chewy long right now. All right, but I got to look at it objectively, I think. And the problem is that if a majority of the U.S., and we're just talking about the U.S. here, if the majority of the U.S. uses Amazon to buy online goods, and they can use the same place to buy pet food, even if they've used Chewy for years, like, you're going to have some loyal customers that stay with Chewy for sure. Like, without question, you're going to have some loyal customers that stay with them. Right? But as new customers are developed, that type of growth is going to slow down dramatically, specifically new customers, right? Because if you can get the same thing that you get from a place that you're already using versus having to go to a completely different website, completely different site, you're just going to buy it from Amazon. It's going to be easier. It's going to be much easier. And so most people are just going to choose to buy it from the same place they're already using, and that's bad for new customer growth. Again, Chewy's always going to have loyal customers that use it. And to be fair, like, to give you the other side of it, I'm trying to be objective here. And again, I'm in Chewy long. I hope it goes up, but I'm trying to be objective. To be fair with Chewy, though, people have been saying this about Chewy for a long time. They were saying this about Chewy before it got bought out by Petco. They were saying this about Chewy before it was really big. They said, hey, you're never going to be able to compete, and it did, especially, like, you guys have to understand the skepticism of pet distributors in general. In the 2000s .com crash, you had a company called Pets.com. Pets.com IPO'd, was wildly successful as an IPO. They used to have commercials where they had the puppet dog, and the puppet dog was kind of like spicy, and he would act all crazy, and they were like a big brand, a big name. They ended up going out of business after the 2000s market crash. They just overextended themselves. And so one of the reasons people were skeptical of Chewy in the beginning was because of that specifically. Like, Pets.com, left a bad taste in people's mouth regarding pet suppliers and mail order shipping. And a lot of people were skeptical. And that's kind of how Cohen found his niche, right? Like, Cohen found his niche because not a lot of other people wanted to mess with that business after 2000 and the Pets.com disaster. And so he had a little bit more established niche that had less competition. He still had competition, but he had less competition because people didn't want to mess with it after Pets.com failed, and that helped him get a nice little start. And again, I'm happy for him. He made his money. He sold it to Petco. He's a billionaire now. So good for him. Yeah, I try to be objective, So I saw something the other day. I was reading a Twitter thread, and it was like, what are some common characteristics of intelligent people? And to be fair, I think everybody on that post was just talking about their own characteristics. And so, like, what I mean is, like, that'd be like me going in there and be like, yeah, I think some common characteristics of smart people are they got brown hair, green eyes, they're devastatingly handsome, Forrest Griffin / Ryan Felipe type of way, Like, listen, that obviously means you're smart. But no, one of the ones that people were saying a lot was being able to dissect different viewpoints, even if you don't necessarily agree with them. Being able to look at both sides of something objectively and being able to reason it well. And so that's all I'm trying to do. I'm trying to be smart over here. And a beard, right? Hey. Cheers to you guys. Yes, Tesla testing this top. Hasn't really been able to break it. It's still over the 200 EMA volume weighted average price. The 200 EMA is way down there, so I just hope that doesn't mean it's going to start correcting back down, though. Forrest Griffin. I mean, listen, I respect what Forrest Griffin did for the UFC. And because he helped it grow. The Stephen Bonner fight, Forrest Griffin fight, built the UFC. It made it what it is today. And you got to give Forrest Griffin his respect for that. But in terms of, like, general fighting skill, I don't know. He was slow. He was slow. Maybe it's just Anderson Silva's so good that Anderson Silva makes everybody look slow, but I think Forrest's other fights Forrest had one of those styles where he wasn't the fastest, but he was really, really strong, and he would just wear you down, so it was interesting. But yeah, props to Forrest Griffin. Seems like a good dude. I always get worried about those old fighters now because, I'm sure a lot of them are going to be like punch drunk. They're going to have CTE. And so I'm hoping they don't. I haven't seen or heard Forrest Griffin speak lately. So I hope some of those old fighters don't start, I hope they don't turn into Chuck Liddell, basically. Because he's sounded rough. Yeah, it's a different era. Fighters were definitely worse back then. Yeah. They say green eyes are the most rare eyes, TK, so I guess that's good. My wife has green eyes too. So my wife has green eyes, I have green eyes. My mom has blue eyes. My dad has brown eyes. My sister has blue eyes. I think she has blue eyes. Anyways, let's see if Tesla holds. Okay, well, that's good to hear, Eric. Yeah, I don't think he got into too many crazy fights, and I think Forrest was really good about not. He wasn't stubborn. He didn't like once he got dropped, he didn't really try to, push too much. Usually he's just sitting down. There's a really funny story about him taking a Xanny bar ahead of the Anderson Silva fight. Like he said, the night before the Anderson Silva fight, he was pooping his pants, scared, right? Because he's about to fight Anderson Silva, like this monster at the time who looked unbeatable, and he couldn't sleep at all the night before, and he didn't know what to do, and so he said he took one of those before he went to bed, and he didn't realize that that the half-life is so long on them, so that you're going to be feeling them over the next few days too. And so basically he said he was all messed up when he got in the ring with Anderson Silva, and that's why he acted like he did, and that's why he was so slow in that fight. It was because he couldn't sleep because he was so scared of fighting Anderson. I can respect somebody who is self-deprecating that much. I try to be that way, top 3 self-deprecating traders in the world, but I can respect Forrest because, he can make fun of himself. It's already 7:22 p.m. here. I need to go to sleep. When I wake up, the stock market would have risen, correct? No, not correct. Nobody knows what the market's going to do when you wake up, brother. Market might rip up 20 points or parabolically crash down. Nobody knows, man. I certainly don't know. Least of all me. All right. Glad you went live. I don't think I have the flu. The flu feels noticeably worse than what I have. The flu sucks. This doesn't feel that bad. I just feel like I have a fever. You can probably tell, I'm talking, I'm acting okay. Again, if I was really feeling rough, I'd be pretty quiet, silent, Hey, nice, Eric. That's cool, man. So we just buy calls for every earnings. I still like your hair today. Hey, thanks, man. Top 3 haircuts in the world right now. Honestly, I really didn't like my hair cut when I got it. It was a little bit too short, personally. But, it's grown out a little bit more now. That's good, I guess. Alright. Yeah, again, it's weird. I've got a fever. But my nose is fine. My throat is fine. I have a decent amount of energy. Maybe it's the coffee, but what's 10-year bonds? They changed the symbol for 10-year bonds. I don't know why. They're added, now you gotta type CG. Oh, wait. Yeah, you gotta type, CGI afterwards now on TOS. I don't know why. I don't see what they. I have to look at them what they are now. They're still closed on TOS. They closed at 4.59%. So almost 5. 4.6 roughly, yeah. Violet eyes? Yeah, I mean, she probably doesn't have actual violet. It's probably a mix of brown, yellowish brown, and green or blue, but it's almost certainly not violet. I mean, I guess you can. Some people do have violet eyes, but purple eyes. It's so super rare, though. So if she really does, it's hella rare. It says usually that happens in people with albinism. Yeah, like you were not sick, but your body thinks something's going on. Yeah, for sure. Bond auction can have big effects. Oh, I have merch for it. You can always buy my merch, chat. You can buy my merch. I haven't been. I'm not really trying to live off of merch, though. Like, I'm sure I could get some merch and sell it, but, like, what I would make from merch is so small that it's probably not really worth it. What's your expectations regarding Meta and Alphabet Q1? Yeah, so again, it'll be interesting. I don't know whether I should cover Microsoft or Google earnings tomorrow. I might do Google, to be honest. Google. The earnings call for Google is at yeah, so this is going to be at 1:30 tomorrow. Okay, so it's at 4:30. Honestly, I don't know. We might cover that. Yeah, durable goods is at 8:30, so we still got a little bit of time for that. I'll put a timer up. I don't know how much is going to affect markets, though, but the SPY bouncing up a little bit here. So we got an hour. Almost exactly an hour. Yeah, so almost exactly an hour until durable goods. I don't know how much this will affect everything, but we'll try to mess with it. Human is already out. Yeah, Humana posted already. Let me find it. AT&T's out with theirs too. They did really, really well. Oh, wait, it's 7:30, so we got Boeing earnings about to drop. Let's watch Boeing. Boeing earnings are about to come out right now. So Boeing earnings are dropping right now. Let's watch it. They're scheduled to release. So look, Boeing down a little bit. It's at 170s. You know, the question, like, is not... I think Boeing is not going to be doing great after all the crazy bad hype they've had over the last few months. Down under 170, under the 200 EMA. It was gapping up a little bit. We'll see how Boeing affects everything else, but we're waiting. All right, so Boeing posted a loss of 113 a share. They expected a loss of 176. Revenue of 16.57. They expected 16.23. So higher revenue, worse... or better than expected EPS and revenue for Boeing. Here's Boeing right here. So better than expected EPS and revenue, which is, again, we knew they were going to lose money because they had a bad quarter in that regard, but they didn't do that bad, you know, all things considered. Is it time to buy them? You know what?
I'm going to go ahead and take that risk. Small trade, though. Ugh. Alright, yeah, we just bought 15 shares. Small little share size. We'll play with it. Well, we're already up a decent amount. I might just kind of... I'm going to take a third of this position off. Just kind of lock it in, protect it. Or no, we're going to wait. Alright, so we got out. Not bad here. We made a nice little gain. Again, the reason I bought Boeing short term is because, you know, it's down so much already. Like, if you look at Boeing, and again, this is the biggest mistake I think rookie traders make. This is what they don't understand, and this is what they end up, like, doing wrong. And again, this is a small position. I'm not trying to brag about this position too much. I'm trying to teach people why I do this. Is because companies like Boeing, listen, Boeing is down a lot. You know, Boeing was at 260s just a couple months ago, like 4 months ago, it was at 260s. And so, and it has dropped a lot, you know. Boeing is probably the largest airplane manufacturer in the world, right? And so it's plausible that we've bottomed a little bit. Essentially, that's what I'm saying. It's possible we've bottomed. And so when I see an earnings report that comes out good and deep extension on the downside, kind of the opposite of Tesla, right? Like deep extension on the downside, we could buy the dip and potentially make money on the upside. And we're up really nicely from it too. Look at this. Just basing it off of extension and earnings. I'll take a little bit more off. Just gonna lock some more in. Not bad. Very quick little day trade here. I might hold the rest and see what happens. Yeah, we took a little bit off. Take a little bit more. Alright, we'll sit on the rest. Probably at least hold it for a couple days. See if we get a nice larger bounce back. It's kind of a mix of a day trade and a swing trade. It's a little bit of both. Spy back over the 200 EMA. Boeing breaking highs again. Look at this. Yeah, I mean, red, green, man. I think the problem is this, right? I think the problem is new traders enter the stock market, right? And I think one of the things that they do is they want to be like Michael Burry. Like, they want to be the next big stock market crash predictor. Maybe they're contrarian, maybe they're politically motivated, maybe they just want to be like Michael Burry. Maybe they watch The Big Short and idolize them or whatever it is, right? Maybe they want to call the next big crash. You know, they idolize the people that did the 2008 mortgage disaster and all that stuff. For whatever reason, again, people tend to expect that stocks are just going to go straight down. You know, like Tesla, right? Like, they look at it so binary. Like, hey, good or bad earnings. If it's good earnings, it should go up. If it's bad earnings, it should go down. And again, that's a very rookie mentality, very rookie mindset. What experienced traders typically understand is extension, and they understand that just because you might not like a company doesn't mean it's going to go straight down. You know, and that's the mistake. Again, we had somebody yesterday who might be creating fake accounts or doing whatever today, saying Tesla was going to crash and burn by the opening bell, you know, and he said, we'll see. He was so arrogant and snobbish about it, and now here we are, Tesla's still testing highs up there, and he's nowhere to be found now. And so, you know, again, you can bet against these companies. When you start betting against these really, really long-term blue chip companies, there's risks, right? The biggest edge in blue chips is on the upside, not the downside. And again, one of the rookie mistakes that traders make is they try to short these really healthy companies, and they don't understand why it works. And then when it doesn't work, they say, oh, it's rigged. You know, it's a rigged market. And it's like, you're just saying that because you're wrong. You know, that's nobody screams manipulation or the market's rigged more than somebody that's wildly wrong about a prediction. And I think people have to really understand that, because they'll drag what would be profitable traders in the wrong direction. So they'll drag them in the wrong direction. They'll act like, you know, yeah. So just be smart, guys. Again, I think there is a place for shorting. I think you can make money if you're shorting stuff. But it can't be all the time. And you need to be able to look at things objectively and say, hey, this thing's down huge percentages over the last 3 months. There might be extension on the downside now. We might get a bounce, right? Like, you have to be able to have those type of mindsets, because if not, you're just going to be one of those bearish traders that's always trying to predict the next market crash that it never ends up showing up anytime soon, you know? And maybe we do crash. I'm not saying we don't, but... Again, if you think you're going to have, like, again, traders, if you got wrapped up in this thing where you're trying to short blue chip healthy companies, again, somewhere you were misled. Doesn't matter how bad you think the company is, right? Somewhere you were misled, unfortunately. The only way that would ever really work, right? Like, the only way shorting would ever really work is if you create a social media account and you create a short report, like the Hindenburg short report, and you target individual companies and you grow large enough to where you can influence those companies. And, you know, you can still target bad companies, right? But you're going to have the, for lack of a better word, the clout to be able to really make your money on the shorts. All right, so Boeing's back up some more. Yeah, you just get so many people that just hate all these different stocks. And again, that's the wrong mentality, chat. All right, so here's the Boeing full list of numbers. Somebody's still asking for Humana. GD's out. Mortgage rates showed up. They showed up at 7.24%. 30-year mortgage rates going up week to week. Biogen is out. You said Humana? Here's Humana right here. I'll put it in the comment section. Scammers in the comments. All right. Yeah, Boeing's up. Really nice. Hey, I'll take it. I'm gonna take another share off. Just lock it in. Just because we can. I mean, we're just gonna limit our risk. We're up a decent amount, very short term. We only bought 15 shares, but I think the logic was sound. So now you're saying you're holding Tesla red green, you know? Couple minutes ago you said, quote, Tesla just moving based on hope, earnings a complete garbage. Meanwhile, yields keep going up. The US keeps loosing lenders more money for foreign countries. This is insane. End quote. Red green, you know? Even if Tesla is down so much, all the hope that Elon is trying to manipulate is already priced in. Tesla's a car company, not AI or robotics. All the revenue comes from a car. That's not, they make money. Again, it's not about, like, look, you can look at historical health of companies, and that's fine. But you have to look at the outlook. One of the reasons Tesla is probably going to be fine long term, despite bearish traders, right? Tesla is one of those stocks that have had so much bearish traders, like so much, for lack of a better word, like people against Tesla. It's had so many people against it, and it's caused some of the biggest short squeezes in stocks. Like Tesla stock has been one of the craziest, most successful companies because of behaving like this, right? So like people were saying this about Tesla way back here. The thing to understand is that you have to look at future outlook. Again, I don't know what's going to happen with Tesla. What I will say is that Tesla specifically is one of those stocks that I think is going to do okay long term, because I think FSD is the future of driving. And I think that's very clear. I think that's very self-evident. Eventually technology's eventually the world's gonna adopt full self-driving robo taxis and stuff like that, right? The real question is, what does that do to companies like Uber and Lyft? Do they implement it themselves and then start having robo taxis deliver people to and from their locations and all this stuff? That's the real question. I think there's interesting, outlook on those things. But back to the point, Tesla has the best algorithms for FSD. That's simply true. I mean, that's objectively true. And so if they are in future outlook terms, if they're in front of FSD and they can stay in front of it, I think they're going to do really, really well, because I think that's obviously the future of technology and driving. Now if they can't stay in front of it, then they've got certainly a more bumpy road ahead. Outlook. Of course we're looking at the outlook of companies, man. Again, you sound emotional, brother. You sound emotional, man. It's all good. But I think Tesla's going to be okay long term. Maybe I'm wrong. I certainly could be wrong. I don't know. Boeing is up a lot. So let's see if Boeing holds. How can Uber and Lyft make a profit if they lose money currently with no overhead? Well, I think robotaxis are an interesting dynamic to look at there for sure. What's in August? Is August 23rd when they're going to debut robotaxis? Is that if Tesla comes out with a $25,000 car with full FSD, Uber won't need drivers? Yeah, that again, it's one of the interesting outlooks. Like, what happens to Uber and Lyft if robotaxis become a real thing? And again, I guess we'll see in August. The problem I have with Tesla is I haven't seen any new tech these recent years. Well, yeah, they're building a big one with robotaxis, and I think that's the future, and that's going to take a long time to build. It's not just going to happen immediately, Yeah, I'm in Boeing. We made a good gain really quickly on Boeing. So we'll see if we can continue it up, but all right, so Boeing all the way back up to 176. Again, we'll see if it holds. Yeah, but I mean, look, I think you're using, and again, red, green, listen, brother, it's all good, man. Again, we can talk about it. It's a good conversation to have. You say, what if Tesla comes out with FSD? What makes you think people will feel safe and sit in the car and ride? People already do, brother. Like, people already sit in Teslas with assisted FSD, They already using it. They're already doing it. What it ultimately depends on is the data. Again, the biggest misconception I think we have here is that people treat regular driving like it's safe. Outside of the big C illness, driving is the single most dangerous thing human beings do on a regular basis. And a lot of people are oblivious to how dangerous it is. Driving is incredibly dangerous. It's one of the most dangerous things humans do on a regular basis, right? Like the likelihood of it causing problems in some people's life is very high. You know, I think it's like the number 2 cause of death, right? And so, you know, we're saying these things, but like, I guess the point is like, if Tesla comes out with robo-taxis, and robo-taxis are shown to be safer than regular drivers, we're going to get adoption for it. We're going to get adoption for it. The bigger question and the bigger risks for Elon and Tesla is that Elon's created a lot of enemies, being really political. I'm against a lot of the stuff he's saying. He's created a lot of enemies, you know. I think if you're selling things to consumers, you can't be that political, and I think he might not realize social context in that way, but or whatever reason he's acting that way, whatever. But I think he's been really political, and I think that creates enemies, and I think it's hard to really get broad adoption when you got a bunch of enemies like that. So I think that's the bigger risk for Tesla, is that he's going to create a lot of really wealthy enemies, you know, and that's never a good thing, I think. But wouldn't Uber and Lyft just buy more? Well, it depends. You know, it really there's a lot of nuance behind these conversations about what happens to Uber and Lyft and all that stuff. You know. All right, guys. Hey, we still got about 45 minutes until the earnings come out, or until the durable good orders drop. Flying in an airplane is safer than driving, most of the time, at least. And that's the point, is that driving is dangerous, man. It's not something that's safe, necessarily. Driving is very dangerous. It's very risky, and it's something that a lot of people don't realize. And so if FSD can make it safer, I'm all for it. You know, I really am all for it. Also, Meta today. Meta has earnings this evening, so I think Meta's a really interesting play here. Meta's up to 508 right now. Crazy. Meta's had one of the craziest gains in markets over the last year. You know, they were at under $100. If you look at a weekly chart, no, that's in 2012. If you look at a daily chart on Meta, 52 weeks ago in April of last year, Meta was at 207. It's now at almost $500. So it's up, you know, 150% or whatever that percentage is. It might be a little off there. You know, if you look a little bit farther out, you know, back in 2022, late 2022, Meta was under $100 a share. Made a crazy gain, crazy comeback. Right. Yeah, but if you have a house, Johnny Be Good, then you could just charge it overnight. Will the news today move the markets? Probably not in a major way. I would say, like, durable good orders is probably not going to beat anything super crazy. All right, so we got durable good orders dropping soon at 8:30. All right, so we got durable good orders at 8:30, dropping in about 40 minutes or so. Right, FSD to Uber, Lyft. I mean, again, that's going to be a huge thing. The question is what happens to Uber and Lyft. The problem with Uber and Lyft is simple. It's that if your car can drive itself, you don't need a Uber. You don't need a Uber. You don't need an Uber or a Lyft if your car can drive itself, right? Now imagine you could just program your car to drive you to and from different locations. You don't need an Uber or a Lyft. Now, you're always still going to need it in certain situations, like if you don't have a place to park, if you're at festivals or, whatever it is. But, again, like, it's going to reduce a lot of the needed business for Uber and Lyft. Ugh. Alright. What's Boeing's price target out? I'm not sure. I'm in Boeing. I bought it. I ended up buying Boeing. My average price is 172. It's at 175. So I'll take it. We've already taken most profit off of it. But yeah. Not everybody has cars or wants cars. 100%. I mean, I agree with that. But it's not about whether people want or don't want cars. It's about whether people want or don't want to drive. And I think a lot of people don't want to drive, but they wouldn't mind a car that drives themselves. And so I think a lot of the people that currently don't want cars are going to be okay with getting a car for the sole purpose of having it drive itself to different locations. And I think regardless of which way you look at it, right, I think it's bad for Uber and Lyft. I think it's bad for Uber and Lyft. Once FSD, again, we'll have to wait till August. I think it's really premature to say what's going to happen because nobody knows. FSD might not really work well in terms of like robo-taxis or anything like that for a long time. So it's really premature. But yeah, I think if FSD does get adopted and robo-taxis and full self-driving happens, it's going to be a bad look. It's certainly going to take business away from Uber and Lyft without question. I think that's objectively true. The big if is when it gets adopted. I think it's inevitable that you're going to have some version of full self-driving and robo-taxis in the future. The question is just when, and I'm not sure. I think that's a tough question to answer. Yeah, well, my car drives itself to a certain extent, Type K. My car drives itself as well. Like, we got this car, our SUV, and I'm not gonna say what kind it is, but we got a nice SUV recently that has autopilot, right? So if you're on the interstate, you can put it in autopilot, and you don't have to do anything. Like, it'll literally steer, it'll change lanes, it'll slow down if somebody's in front of you. Like, you don't have to do anything. Once you're on the interstate, it'll literally do everything. And this is just an early stage of it. And again, my wife's one of those people that's skeptical of EVs and skeptical of full self-driving and all that stuff. But even she, when she figured out our car could do that, even she was like, oh my gosh, like she played with it. Like, I remember I was trying to sleep on a road trip to Baton Rouge, and she kept waking me up, being like, baby, look, the car drives itself. And she's also the same person that hated the Cybertruck at first, and now when she sees a Cybertruck, she's like, hey, that looks impressive. That's an impressive looking car, is something she said. And she used to say it was ugly. And so I think it's different in person. I really do. I think when you look at one in person and you see what it looks like, and you see how big it is, how impressive it is, again, it floats on water, it's bulletproof, drives itself faster than a Porsche. I think those are all pretty cool arguments. They're pretty cool characteristics of it. And so people can hate Tesla, they can hate Elon or whatever it is, but I think the cars are cool. AI and EVs will make humanity lazy by 2100. Well, 2100 is so deep into the future. I mean, number one, humanity's already lazy. But by 2100, like the exponential growth of technology, by 2100, it's going to be
mind blowing what tech looks like. Of course, like 2100 is, 75 years into the future. Imagine if somebody that lived 75 years ago, that not like, I'm not talking about your grandparents, because your grandparents have seen the growth, right? Like, they've seen the growth, they've lived through it. But imagine somebody that lived 75 years ago who had never seen the growth we've done over the last 100 years, saw some of the tech that we had modern day, right? They would think it was alien tech, and they would think it's alien technology. They would think it was either that or that. Like, it would be mind blowing. And so in 2100, it's just gonna be crazy. Like, I couldn't even imagine. You got to question whether there's like a ceiling to it, whether tech becomes so efficient that you don't really get any big growths. But I don't think so. I think it's hard to fathom what tech might look like because we're used to what we have today. Anyways, gold pulling back. Gold's slightly red. Gold has had a really good couple months, but pulling back over the couple days. Still over 2,300, so very strong for gold. Tesla still over the VWAP at 162, still holding, going into durable good orders. We still got about 33 minutes or so until durable goods comes out, so we still got some stuff we got to wait for. We were supposed to be on Mars in the 80s. Yeah, but I mean, again, you got to understand, like, humans learn more. Like, they learn more about what's feasible and what's not. And so I'm sure that, of course, there's things that we wanted to do that we didn't. But, again, that comes from a more broad understanding of things, I think. Like, how difficult it really is to go to Mars. Versus, like, a laziness or anything like that, in my opinion. But yeah, but I don't think renting out your vehicles is a smart move, Jeffrey. Like, you got a lot of really predatory online gurus that somehow tell you that, like, buying a supercar and renting it out to people is a good idea. It's on Turo or something like that. Listen to me when I tell you this. And again, I know when I say stuff like this, like, I can understand that there's going to be a certain amount of people who have their hopes so wrapped up into this type of business endeavor that it hurts for me to say this. Like them hearing this might hurt. Because, again, they're so excited about doing it, right? Be objective. Renting out a supercar, buying a supercar, and then renting it out to people is a horrible idea. It would never work business-wise. And the numbers that you always hear people throw out are, they're like, yeah, if you buy a Ferrari and you rent it out 30 days a month, right, you're going to earn X amount. It's like, of course you would. Nobody's going to rent it out for 30 days straight, and then you're not going to have a Ferrari. Again, the real problem with something like that is that when people rent cars, does anybody take care of them? Of course not. You're ragging out that car, bro. Like, I rent a Ferrari, dude. I'm flooring it every time I rent it, right? You got a new person renting that Ferrari out every day. That motor's going to be blown by a couple months in, And again, your whole investment's going to be worthless. Like, it's just a terrible idea. Like, you're letting people tear up your cars. Your cars are going to depreciate at least on par with the money that you're making. And those type of cars are really expensive to fix up. But again, you got a lot of predatory gurus acting like you can just buy a supercar and rent it out every day. And what's the worst that could happen, right? Like, they're just trying to sell you a course or mentorship. And you got to be resilient to that stuff because it happens a lot. I see it a lot, bro. I see it online, like, hey guys, buy a supercar, rent it out for, 25 days of the month. You could earn $5,000 doing that. It's like, oh great, ridiculous. Yeah, maybe with Teslas it'll be self-driving too. And I think if it's not an ICE, I think it's the wear is going to be less. But it's still going to be wear. But, maybe with Teslas it's more justifiable. Again, though, like, the rule of thumb with business is simple. If it sounds too good to be true, it is. Usually. Usually. Right, the moneymaker says I put my 118 Porsche Cayenne GTS on Turo, made about $10,000 for the year, and then some drunk driver flipped it and destroyed it. 100%, man. That's exactly what's gonna happen. And again, people just look. Everybody wants the cheat code. The cheat code is just be smart with money, take calculated risks, and if it's too good to be true, it usually is. That's the cheat code.
Nobody wants to hear that, though. Everybody wants to hear that you can just get rich quick if you buy their mentorship program, guys. And I don't know. Yeah, I'm flooring it on the rental, bro. If I'm spending a couple $1,000 or however much it is to rent a Ferrari, dude, we're gonna go in that Ferrari. You know, and the problem when you do that day in and day out is it wears the car so much. You know, changing the brake pads on a Ferrari is probably like 10 grand. You know what I mean? So imagine how much you're gonna have to pay for stuff like that. It's gonna be a net. Like, you're going to probably lose money, realistically. But, again, everybody wants to believe it's easy. And I think sometimes the marketing for mentorships like that is just really, really good. And so people fall for it hook, line, and sinker because they want it to be true, you know. Yeah, Ferrari. Hey, start my brand. I'm going to sell it on, you know, eBay. Ferrari. Speaking of that, I saw a video about this guy that had a kit car. If you don't know what a kit car is, it's a car that was really something else. Like, the guy had a 350Z, and he tried to turn it into a Bugatti, and it looked like a Bugatti, but it was really like a Z that he put a kit on. You know, I saw another one with a guy in a Ferrari, or it might have been a Lamborghini, and it was an obvious kit car, but for whatever reason, the old man was always just kind of... Anytime somebody would say, hey, that's a kit car, he would get mad and claim it was real, you know. Funny video. I'll have to find it. Anyone watching Hook? Like Run Home Jack Hook? Nvidia held 800. Are we finally bullish? I don't know, man. It's over. I mean, it's Nvidia at 840s. So Nvidia is doing really, really nice. So again, there's Tesla up there. Here's Nvidia. I have a Ferrari. It costs 2,000 pounds in the UK. Yeah, but what's the ratio, the conversion ratio for pounds? Isn't it like, is it like 1.2? It's 1.24. Yeah, so you're going to, basically, a pound is worth 25% more. So yeah, I mean, whatever the math is there. So it would be another $500 math-wise, if my math is correct. Yeah, it would be another $500. My math is right. So yeah, it would be about 2,500. So yeah, I mean, it's still gonna cost a couple thousand. Yeah, because 25% of 1,000 is 250 times 2 for 2,000 would be 500. Yeah, that's right. All right, SPY at 506. Nvidia dipping down though. It's under 840s. Is there something that you would rent out? In what do you mean? Like a car? Is there a car I would rent out? I wouldn't. The only way, if I was gonna do that, I would just try to start my own luxury rental business. You know, with insurance and everything. You know, like that's if you're gonna do that. Like, and again, you're gonna need like at least $1 million to do that. You're gonna need at least $1 million. You know, buy lower end. You know, rent them out, scale up to buy larger, you know, higher end luxury supercars, and then kind of rent those out and have insurance. The whole thing. I don't think the margins are very good in luxury rentals, to be honest. But I don't know the business super well, so I don't know. Well, yeah, I mean, rental properties are a thing, and I have that. I have those, you know. I think rental properties are the best thing that you can do with your money, realistically. The reason I think that is because, number one, is that they typically tend to keep up with inflation to a certain extent. The average home appreciates about 5% a year, which means that in 10 years, your home's going to appreciate roughly 50%, right? Which is great. You know, the other end of that is if it's a rental property, you're also going to make rental income. And so say you make, you know, you're going to make the most and have the biggest diversified chance of succeeding with a rental property. Although, again, it's not as stable as something like bonds, of course, right? Like bonds, you can get a similar percentage guaranteed, but with a home, you know, it's similar with a home, but you also gain from appreciation over time. So I think they're just like a more secure way of investing. You know, almost all homes are going to appreciate, even if, you know, the neighborhood gets worse or whatever it is. Most homes are going to appreciate over time. Even if they don't, you're still going to earn rental income, you know? And so, like, you're supposed to earn about 1% of the house price per month is the golden rule for rentals. So if you got a $250,000 house, right, you want to earn about 1% of that, which is $2,500. You know, multiply times 12 for 12 months in a year. So you're gonna earn about $30,000 gross in a rental property for about a $250,000 house. Now you're not gonna get to keep all of this. You're gonna have insurance. You're gonna have expenses and bills. They say you probably keep about 60% of this. So you're gonna keep about, you know, a little bit under 20K in profit a year on a rental property. You know, so 20K times 12. Or no, I'm sorry, 20K times 10 is going to be $200,000 in profit from renting it out over a 10-year period. And then again, if a home appreciates 5% a year, you know, with compounding, right? So let's use compounding here in this calculation. So in 10 years, your home's going to be worth almost double, right? So you're going to profit from appreciation as well as rental income, right? So it's diversified. That's the logic of a rental property. Now, again, you're gonna have taxes, like you're gonna have a lot of stuff that takes money out, but again, the logic is sound, you know, diversified. You gotta just get good tenants, to be honest. You just gotta make sure you don't get bad tenants. Anyways, Boeing started to dip down. It's at 174s. Yeah, plus the tax breaks on real estate, specifically in mortgages. I'm not really a big fan of taking mortgages out. I'd rather pay cash, and then if I need to refinance it later on, if I'm in a bind or something like that, I could do that. And I think that makes the most sense, you know. All right, guys, NVIDIA. See, I feel okay. You know, I feel okay. It's weird. Like, I have a fever, but outside of that, I'm okay. Are higher durable good orders considered inflationary? Probably. They signal economic growth, which can be, yes, inflationary, yes. Not always. Nothing's 100% or definitive, right? But in general, correct. Like, they can be inflationary, yes. They signal economic growth, signal more potential inflation problems, basically. Also, guys, if you haven't already, check out Apex. Apex is a funded account program. We're going to day trade on them right now. We are going to day trade on Apex right now and see if we can make some money. Again, there's no PDT rule in futures. The reason you should try a funded account program when you're learning how to day trade is simple. If you think again, I'm going to tell you the truth, right? When I first got started day trading, I lost 4,000 in like 3 weeks. I thought I was about to get rich, too, with that 4K. I thought I was going to turn that 4K into 100K and ride off into the sunset of trading savant. That didn't happen. I ended up losing the entire 4K. And this is a very common story. Most day traders lose. And so in the beginning, especially, in general, yes, but especially in the beginning, most day traders lose. And so does it make any sense when you're learning how to day trade, or if you don't have that much money, to put up $5,000 or $6,000 yourself? Of course not. You're probably just going to give it back to the market. If you put up $5,000 or $6,000 in your first account, you're going to lose that most likely. Instead, try a funded account program. In the futures market, you can day trade, and it's very similar to day trading stocks. There's no PDT rule, so you're not restricted like you are if you want to day trade stocks. If you want to day trade stocks, you need 25K in a margin account to do so without restriction. Super restricted. It's virtually very difficult to get a good sample size in and day trade actively if you have less than 25K. And so the futures market gets you around that, because there's no PDT rule, and in futures, this is the QQQ price action. So it's the same price action as the Q. If you look at this, it looks very similar to NVIDIA. And so the QQQ in futures, the NASDAQ 100 futures contract, looks a lot like most tech stocks. They move a lot with most tech stocks. If you look at Tesla and NVIDIA, they all look very similar today, and the patterns are very similar as well in futures. But I can day trade this left side in futures, and there's no PDT rule. Apex is one of the most legit funded programs in the world. What they do is they give you a demo and they test your skill with a demo account first. And so if you could pass the test, they fund you, anywhere between $25K for the base one all the way up to $300K for the top one. And again, the best part is that if you lose, you only lose the monthly subscription. The base one's $30. So if you lose, you're only out $30. It still teaches you how to trade under pressure. You're still taking some risk, although you're not risking thousands of dollars and losing that like most new traders are going to do. But if you pass it, you get a 90% split once you're funded. So you're keeping most of your profit once you're funded anyway. And it's really the best of both worlds. It's a great way to learn how to day trade with limited risk. And again, if you want to check it out, you can use my promo code BT, beginner trading, all one word, or all two letters, BT, beginner trading. Check it out, guys. All right, guys. Yeah, you can also use copy trades, all this cool stuff on Apex. It's interesting. All right, guys. Durable good orders coming out soon, chat. Coming out soon. We really got about 20 minutes until durable goods drops. Again, NVIDIA at 840s right now, chat. 840s. Tesla at 161s. Boeing here. We're going to try to day trade, although we're kind of choppy. We do have a slight upward trend, so I could buy this trend. I'm going to wait for the orders to come out before I really start to day trade. NVIDIA back up over 840s, though. So NVIDIA is back over 840s. Did we do a poll today? Oh, we did do a poll today. Does the market hold the gains it's made? The stock market hold the gains it's made over the last 24 hours, chat. Let me know. Why does Tesla go up with bad numbers? So I've explained this so many times, chat. And it's an important thing, and so I want people to understand what I mean by this. I really do. Like, I really want people to understand what this means. I truly do, okay? But just listen, guys. Tesla is up, even though it dropped bad numbers, because it's simply not that easy to make money with earnings. Nobody knows. Extension plays a big factor. So when you look at Tesla here. So here's Tesla on the bottom chart, right? When we pull this bottom chart up, if I put a yearly chart up, Tesla has gone down basically since last year. It's basically been downtrending for a year straight. It's down to 140s, a psychological support level. And there's a lot of extension specifically since December. And so it's down a lot. It's not going to go straight down forever. And nobody expects it to. It's still producing pretty good numbers. And eventually stocks hit bottoms. Blue chip stocks are not going to go straight down. Earnings as well are very varied. Like, people baked into the bearish outcome in Tesla stock for their earnings weeks ago, months ago, right? Like, they predicted it was going to have bad earnings weeks or months ago, and that's what drove it down like this. This is the reason Tesla dropped like this, is because the potential negative outcome in earnings was getting baked into it already. It's not binary. It's not like Tesla is going to have great earnings and go up always, or bad earnings and go down always. It's just not that easy. And if it was, again, everybody would be rich. You just sit around waiting to buy Tesla if it reported good earnings, and it would go up and you would make money, and you could just do that all day. Nobody would ever do anything else. They would sit, wait for Amazon to report good earnings and click buy, and then ride off into the sunset rich. Unfortunately, the market's not that easy, and there's a lot of nuance behind it, specifically the fact that all the real moves happened weeks ago in Tesla. Like, this is the outcome. This is people getting baked into the outcome of negative earnings, right? So now that the outcome of negative earnings are out, they start covering their short positions, and this can cause a little pop up, which is what it did. That's the easiest way to understand it. Stumbled across your channel 3 weeks ago. Tuning in every morning has become my routine. Thanks for sharing. Hey, thanks so much. Yeah, I mean, Tesla's a good company. And again, regardless of what people think, right? Like, look, the easiest way to get through all of this All right, people say Tesla's bad, Tesla's good, whatever it is, right? The easiest way to get through all of this is to look at a margins graph. Really, a revenue graph is what you want to look at. And so seasonality does play a factor. Revenue graph is a more important one. Regardless of the haters, chat, and again, the haters are always there, of course. Regardless of the haters, right? This is Tesla's revenue graph. You know, so the haters will try to pull traders in all these different directions. But this is their revenue graph. And so, does this look like a bad revenue graph to you, chat? You know, it kind of gets all the noise out there. Does that look like a bad revenue graph? Of course not. It looks incredibly strong. Like, people get pulled in so many different directions in trading. You know, and you get some people that, again, they just want to be the next Michael Burry and call the next market crash. And that overpowers logic sometimes, I think. You know. Yeah, we'll see what the new models, new AI features, all that good stuff looks like. We'll see. I'm ready. My first big trading loss was shorting Tesla. Yeah, you learn very quickly. Like, you got to take emotion. Like, people, again, I'm not going to say people are gullible. I'm going to say people get misled and led in all these different ways where they start just kind of getting their pitchforks out, wanting companies to go to zero. Like, they just get misled. Again, in the end, if you find yourself consistently betting against the strongest companies in the world, somewhere you've been misled in markets, right? Like, it doesn't matter how much you hate it. It doesn't matter what you think. Like, most of the time, these are very strong companies. And even if they drop, like Tesla's dropped, it's still pulling in really high revenue for any company. It's still pulling in really like decent margins, you know, for any company. But one of the things that predicts future success is using the revenue they earn and putting it back into the business. And so their EPS and their margins are not always going to be perfect. If they're doing it right and they're reinvesting their money back into the business, they're not always going to make the most money ever, right? Like, they're going to have to put it back into stuff. And especially if they're putting it back into big things like robo-taxis and FSD, then that's understandable, I think. But I think people sometimes just have unrealistic expectations. Yeah. He said earnings will rarely follow the reported sentiment. 100%. Again, though, it's kind of weird. I see this question a lot, man. I cover every major earnings call and earnings. I cover every major earnings report, I'll say. Yet, every single one, when the stock doesn't move in the same correlation with earnings, right? So if earnings come in good and the stock moves down, people are so confused. They don't understand. They're like, why is this happening? You know, it's like, look, you got to watch multiple earnings reports, not just one. Because you got to understand, like, look, it's just so nuanced. It's just so nuanced. Ugh, I don't know if I should take a Tylenol or what, man. All right, chat. NASDAQ up to 17.7s here. So the NASDAQ's actually breaking highs. Tesla at 161s. Tesla getting the new EV hype train. It's going to have to be better than their current EVs if they want to be around in 5 years. They're going to be around in 5 years, almost without... again, you never know. Maybe not. I don't freaking know. Sorry, guys. I can feel it. I'm almost definitely running a fever right now. I'm trying to work the stream, but man... super weird, man. I was recently sick 3 weeks ago. Now I'm sick again. My daughter's sick too, so I probably just have what she had. I was hoping she had what I had 3 weeks ago, and that I would be immune to it, but I guess not. All right, guys, Tesla back up. Look at the NASDAQ rip here. So the NASDAQ's testing highs. NVIDIA up there. SPY over 507s. We'll try to day trade a little bit here, but we'll see. All right, chat. NASDAQ still popping up here. We got durable good orders in about 5 minutes, chat. 5 minutes. Whew. Yeah, man. I'm gonna get some sleep after this. I'm gonna throw it in sub-only mode. Y'all hit that subscribe button, chat, if you haven't already. We appreciate the love. Thanks so much. Where's the guy that told us by the opening bell that Tesla was going to crash? Hearing crickets from him. All right, chat. We got 5 minutes until durable good orders come out. 5 minutes. Again, we do have Meta earnings today. All right, guys, we're up to 17.73s. NVIDIA at 839.30s. NASDAQ is just up too much for me to buy it. I think I got to wait for it to pull back. I don't know if the durable good orders are really going to make some big influence over markets. I think a lot of people are sick, man. Hey, thanks, guys. Durable good orders probably won't make too much movement. Meta earnings this evening are going to be a little bit bigger and relevant, in my opinion. Yeah, it's not going to be a CPI or PPI move. It's going to be much less pronounced than that. 4 minutes, chat. 4 minutes. Now, Tesla's probably up just on extension alone. Not just extension, I guess, but it's a mix. Alright guys, we're at the 17.73s. Tesla breaking down a little bit here. It's at 160s. Still got a long way down though. But still, it's at 160s. We'll see if durable good orders less than 3 minutes, chat. About 2 minutes left. All right, chat. We're still at the top of this range. We got about two minutes left, really. A little bit over 2 minutes, but basically 2 minutes left. Core durable good orders expected at 2.5%. 2.5% for durable good orders. Core durable good orders expected at 0.3%. But regular durable goods is the biggest one. And again, that's expected at 2.5%. So let's see what we get, guys. We got less than 2 minutes. Hit the live button next to the play button. Hit the subscribe button, chat. I appreciate the love. Thanks so much. 8:30, durable goods. We'll see what happens here. Again, we got Meta earnings this evening as well. So we do have Meta earnings this evening. Again, it's expected at 2.5%. So remember, tomorrow we have GDP, and then Friday we have PCE data. All right, chat, we got about a minute and 20 seconds. This is a little bit early, to be honest. So this is actually a little bit early. We really got about a minute and 10 seconds left. About a minute and 5 seconds left. We got about 1 minute left, chat. So this is a little bit early, so we're going to put this down. Again, we got less than a minute. Yeah, you want to hit that subscribe button, help support your boy out. We appreciate it. We're almost there. Yeah, we'll probably hit that today. All we need is like 400 subs. We'll hit 135K. All right, chat, here we go. 20 seconds. 20 seconds. I don't know how much this is going to move markets. Probably not that much. All right, chat, 15 seconds. All right, chat, here we go. Here's durable goods. And out. Canadian retail sales are out. Durable goods showed up at 2.6% higher than expected durable goods. 2.6%. Again, hit the sub button. We do this faster than everybody. Lower than expected month-over-month core durable goods, but the regular durable goods, which is the largest release, again, showed up at 2.6%. 2.6%, chat, for durable good orders. Again, 2.6% versus 2.5% expected. put this up on screen. Durable goods showed 2.6 versus 2.5. Market slow, like reacted a little bit here, but it's mostly a doji candle, so kind of undecisive market. Doesn't know what to do. Yes, higher durable goods shows more economic growth. Yeah, Boeing's out with their numbers as well, James. They did better than expected on EPS and revenue. All right, Chad, so we have reacted positively to this. We're now up some, so maybe the market wants economic growth. I'm not sure. All right, guys, so we are reacting positively here. Most stuff's reacting positively. NVIDIA, SPY, most tech. Gold is moving up some from this as well here. Elon's planning to sell his Tesla stock next year. I don't know. Market is looking for any good news to keep the euphoric run intact. I don't know. Yeah, again, it signals more economic growth. And again, if you want to learn to day trade, I might short this top. Now, it's kind of a risky endeavor. You can see it's very similar to day trading stocks, though. So I'm shorting this. I've got 4 contracts here. So we got 4 contracts. I'm short. I'm looking for a turnaround here, chat. So again, it is meta earnings today. And so again, it's very similar to day trading stocks. I can buy market, sell market. I can short market just like I did here. And again, there's no PDT rule in futures, so I can day trade, short, all this good stuff, and there's no PDT rule. It's very similar to day trading stocks. There we go. All right, beautiful short position here. We're going to get out the rest. All right, so not bad so far. Kind of a good little scalp to start the day. We're going to go ahead and cut that there. So yeah, we're up a nice little gain so far on the day. Building up a cushion as always, chat. And again, you can kind of see it's very similar to day trading stocks. Very similar. There's no PDT rule in futures. Great way to learn how to day trade. For whatever reason, people always want to day trade stocks. But again, day trading futures gets you around the PDT rule. Allows you to do so without restriction. It's more free to day trade futures. Again, check out Apex if you want to help support my sponsors. Apex gives you a demo. They test your skill, so it limits your risk in the beginning. It's a much cheaper way to get started. And if you have a small amount of money and you don't have enough to fund your own account, you can get started on a funded account program. They give you a demo, and if you pass the test, they fund you. And then if you can build up profit in the funded account, you can withdraw it and fund your own account if you want. The base one is only about $30. They give you a 25K demo. You got to make $1,500 in profit without losing $1,500. So it's a 1-to-1 reasonable ratio. But if you're good enough to pass it and do that, they fund you 25K with a 90% split. And so then once you're funded, if you're good enough, you can make 20, 30K yourself and withdraw it and fund your own account. And if you don't get funded, if you're not good enough to get funded, then you only lose what you pay for it, which is $30, $35. And in the futures market, again, you can kind of see it's very similar to day trading stocks. They have accounts all the way up to 300,000. So again, if you want to check it out, here's the link. It is a sponsor of mine. I'm biased, of course, because they pay me money, but you can use my promo code BT, Beginner Trading. Remember, I'm terrible. I have no idea what I'm talking about. Understand CFTC 4.41 and the implications, hypothetical or simulated performance results with these funded account programs can vary. Understand all these rules. Chat. Hey, what's up, Connor? Yeah, all good, brother. Nvidia down to 838. SPY's now dipping down a little bit, so it looks like me shorting was the right move. Maybe I could have held it a little bit longer, but I think we're a little bit too up for me to really want to buy anything. I'm more of a short biased right now. I don't know what I should do with Boeing. I bought Boeing this morning at 172s. It's at almost 176s now. We're up a decent amount, and it bounced right off the VWAP. I guess I'll sit in it. It's a small trade. I don't have to worry about it too much. All right. Yeah, guys. Still kind of running a fever, chat. I can feel it. It's weird, man. It's weird. My nose isn't stopped up. My throat doesn't hurt. I'm just running a fever. I'm gonna short this. Small position though. So we got a little cushion we can play with, but it's kind of chopping back and forth. I could add to it. I think I'll just leave it tight though. 3 contracts is fine. Kind of flat on the day now. I guess I could add more and try to fix the average here and see if we rejected this resistance level, which kind of looks like we're doing. Again, I think I'm a little slow this morning. Alright, so we're up. I'm probably not going to mess with it. I'm going to just leave it alone. There we go. Alright, we'll take half off there, protect the trade, lock it in. Take a little bit more off there. Not a bad little cushion on the day so far. I could add to this too. I might add to it if it pushes back up, yeah. So we're going to add right back to this on the bounce. We'll just leave 2 contracts. So we flushed down a lot. Again, we're kind of choppy right now. Maybe the market's waiting for meta. Gold is actually ripping back up. I'm going to cut this. I actually don't know if I trust this right now. I see gold and Tesla pushing back up towards the VWAP here, so I don't know if I trust shorting too much more right now. Yeah, what I will say, guys, is like, fundamentals play a big role in markets. Everything's not pure technicals. Here we go. All right, we'll just cut the rest there. So yeah, we're up a nice little amount today. Everything's not pure technicals, and it's important to understand that, because I think sometimes like technical people, they think that everything's caused by some technical move. And again, I get some people here that are like, we'll have CPI drop, or we'll have durable good orders come out, or whatever it is, and we'll have big volatility that comes from. And I say this a couple times a day because I think this is important, because we get some people that come here and, CPI will come out and the market will rip up like 10% on low CPI inflation data, right? Really important metric. But then they'll say it's like a technical pattern, or whatever it is. And again, you got to understand, fundamental moves typically trump technical moves, right? So like, you could have the best technical pattern in the world, but if CPI comes in really, really low, market's still probably going up, even if it's a bearish technical pattern. And it's important to understand that logic of the market. Like, technicals certainly work, but they're not always going to work with everything. And fundamentals and company health and earnings and inflation data and economics play a big role in things, not just technicals. And so you got to look at both sides, right? Like, a lot of the time, like an example of this is tech stocks will gap up on good earnings, and that might pull the rest of the market up in sympathy. But it's important to understand that logic. It really is. Correct. X. Macro, then fundamentals, then TA, 100%. It's just important for people to understand that, because I think people can get kind of lost in technical analyzation, where they're looking at everything from a technical perspective. But, you got to understand fundamentals, macro markets, like all that stuff. It's just important. Like, again, once you start to watch the Fed decisions, you start to watch bonds, you start to watch inflation data, you start to watch, CPI, PCE, GDP, jobless claims, unemployment, non-farm payroll numbers, and you start to understand, like, right now, again, to give you guys a look at the economy. The economy right now is in a period where we're very much fearing inflation still. The Fed originally said that we would probably cut rates multiple times this year, and they've since kind of changed their tune, specifically because the market looks resilient. The Fed's less likely to cut rates, which is, if you don't know what cut rates means, it means bring short-term interest rates down. And short-term rates eventually trickle into long-term rates, like mortgage rates and like auto financing interest rates, right? So when the Fed raises or lowers rates, it influences long-term rates, right? And the reason that's important is because it influences how much the consumers in the country spend. If interest rates are really high and you're paying, 8% on a mortgage, it's less likely that those consumers are going to spend a lot more money on other things, because they're going to be spending so much money on their mortgage payments or their auto financing loans. And so when you keep interest rates high, it discourages spending. And the reason the Fed has been doing that, the Fed's been doing something called quantitative tightening. All right. And they were also talking about rate cuts. The reason they've been doing QT is because after the 2020 disaster of the economy, the Fed stepped in and did something called quantitative easing. What QE is it's basically, a lot of people refer to it as money printing, and it kind of is. But what it actually is the Fed stepping in, and they're buying up a bunch of bonds, and they're expanding their balance sheet. And this ultimately helps banks to reduce interest rates, right? This helps banks bring interest rates down. The first thing they'll do is usually they'll cut the federal funds rate. And if you look at 2020, the economy was at risk in 2020, the pandemic. All this crazy stuff was happening. People weren't working. And so the Fed stepped in and they brought interest rates down to almost zero for the same logic. The same logic remains, which is that they did this because when interest rates are really, really low, consumers spend more. They've got more money to spend. If you're spending less money on a mortgage, then you got more money to spend on other stuff, and it positively influences the economy. And so if you hear some people that just always throw out recession or depression, and they hate the current administration or whatever it is. So they're always acting like we're just in this bad recession or depression. Really, right now, we're not. The biggest risk that we had to a recession or depression was in 2020, when everybody stopped working, when the pandemic happened. And the Fed stepped in and they brought interest rates down. They did it through rate cuts. They did it through, again, quantitative easing. And so one of the consequences of stimulating the economy in such a profound way is inflation. Prices spiked. Stimulus checks also helped inflation to get worse. But prices spiked. Prices went up, right? And then people complain about prices, So again, one thing you'll notice is that the public is very rarely happy. It doesn't matter who is in charge. It doesn't matter what administration is there. The public's never happy, right? If we're keeping interest rates high, they're going to complain that they can't finance a loan. If we're reducing the federal funds rate and bringing interest rates low and we get inflation to compensate for it, they're going to complain about inflation. If nobody's working because we don't keep interest rates low, then they complain about a recession or depression. So the public is very rarely happy. But right now, specifically right now, if you want to know a look at the current economy, if you want to know the look at what we're currently in economics-wise, we're currently in something called quantitative tightening, and it's the opposite of QT, or it's the opposite of QE. QE is expanding a balance sheet, reducing interest rates in that way, buying up bonds mostly. QT is the opposite of that. It's very rarely direct selling bonds. It's mostly just stopping buying bonds for the most part, which ultimately allows bonds to run off their balance sheet, and it reduces the balance sheet over time. The bonds mature, they get off the balance sheet. And again, this keeps interest rates high. This keeps interest rates high. The Fed has also raised rates really aggressively over the last few years, and this has kept interest rates really high as well, right? If you look at mortgages right now, they're freaking 8%, 9% somewhere. Auto financing's not any better. And so it's important to understand what we're really in right now. Really, we're not in a recession or depression right now. What we're really in is we've had too much inflation problems over the last few years, and now the Fed's trying to combat that. And the only real reason the Fed's going to cut rates is if the economy starts to look a little, if the economy turns, the Fed might cut rates earlier. But right now, inflation is the enemy. It's not recession or depression. It's not too little people working. Jobs are strong. Payrolls are strong. And again, people can argue and say the numbers are fake or whatever it is, but I think you got to take a step back and try to be objective and understand the history of the economy over the last 5 years. It's important to understand. Anyways. In 2020, yeah, a lot of people put their money in. Again, that helped the market boom. People started trading with their stimulus money for sure. Yeah. This is not a normal market economy. I've heard that my whole life. Yeah, man. And again, everybody, most people don't understand true economics in this way that I just described. And so they're just kind of regurgitating talking points, arguing points that they hear on political news mostly. And so they're like, yeah, we're in a recession, And then you'll hear they changed the definition of a recession. And it's maybe they did, but this was 3-4 years ago, we're not in that same economy today. It's a different economy right now. So again, most of the time, and again, I'm not really political. I'm very neutral politically. I just look at the economics behind it all. But right now, it's a weird market. It is a weird market, but sometimes that's how the market goes. Again, it's been this thing where we're in QT. We're trying to keep interest rates high still to discourage spending because the labor market has been too strong and inflation's a problem. But Nvidia and microchip stocks have been, I'm not going to say they're exacerbating the problems, but they're certainly not helping it because prices are spiking high. Generally, in theory, and again, markets and the economy are different things, but in theory, during QT in a hawkish Fed, they're trying to push down spending, and spending contributes to stock purchases as well. So by that mind, the market could be dropping during QT in theory because less people have money to spend. But right now, again, Nvidia and the microchip sector have skyrocketed over the last few years. It's just an interesting, it's one for the history books. People will talk about this, but I don't know what's going to happen in the future. The real question is whether the Fed cuts rates. I think the market wants a rate cut. Personally, I think a rate cut is a bad decision. I don't necessarily need to finance a home or finance a car. And so I don't care how high interest rates are. I think inflation is a sticky thing. And once inflation really starts to get out of control, it can snowball and get worse and worse and worse. And so if we rush to cut rates too early, which again specifically is bringing the federal funds rate down, short-term interest rates down to try to bring long-term interest rates down, inflation can and could get worse and spike. And inflation hasn't really been, it's not in a bad spot. We're anywhere between 3 and 3.5%, which is not the worst it could be. but it's not really great either. But the problem is that if we cut rates too early, it could spike interest rates, or it could spike inflation, and that's not what we want. You're doing a good job explaining it in layman's terms. Yeah, I'm not saying the economy is good. What I'm saying is that right now the enemy is not recession, depression, buzzwords that a bunch of people throw out all the time. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that the economy, the enemy of the economy right now is inflation, not recessions and depressions. And I think that's objectively clear. I think that's very obvious. You could look at how not only the market reacts to economic data, but the Fed's decision making in that regard as well, is what I'm saying. Yeah, AI boom during a QT cycle as well as global. Yeah, for sure. Brian the Red. It's just a weird market, man. Again, it's one for the history books. People will talk about this. Yeah, and I know some people talk, again, there's a difference between government spending and QE, right? Like, we had somebody arguing last week that we were in QE because they said they brought up debt and government spending. There's a difference between QE and government spending. It's not the same thing, and I think that's a big misconception. People hear money printing. People hear QE is money printing, and then their logic is like, oh, well, all government spending must be money printing. I'm sorry. Then they say, oh, all government spending must be QE. And again, look it up. It's not the same thing. It's simply not the same thing. It's just not. Tesla shareholder voting has not happened yet. Voting to begin approximately April 29th. June 13th is the shareholder meeting. Hope this helps. Yeah, no, I appreciate it. We'll cover the shareholder meeting, most likely. I would go with the monthly one, Philip, personally. Philip says at Apex, would you recommend a monthly or a lifetime membership? I would just do the monthly, brother. You want to make sure that you're going to keep the account long enough to justify the lifetime. And so I guess it depends on you as a trader. I usually just go with the monthly, though. Alright, guys, again, we got a little bounce back up, but we're kind of bottoming out. We'll see. Really, when you zoom out, we're really kind of choppy long term. Like, when you look at this, not long term, but over a day or two, go up and then down and then up and then down. Really, we're in the middle of big tech earnings, and so we're probably going to get neutral sideways, even if it's big range from earnings. Gold's still testing the high, still technically red. The Fed will be the buyer of last resort. Cut my life into pieces. This is the Fed's last resort. Is that a bad dad joke? Hilarious joke by me. You're welcome, guys. Listen, that's what I'm here for, okay? Gold now green on the day. I'm kind of sick today, too. I'm running a fever. I can tell. I can feel it. I don't want to take a Tylenol, and I'm drinking coffee. That can't be good for my fever. 30 minutes, chat. Yeah, I think if we minimize this trend, you put a 5-minute chart up, it'll probably be a little bit clearer. We have this range that's very obvious, I think. I think that range is clear. We'll see what happens though. What's up, Jay? What's up, Connor? Pre-market is where the 30-minute uptrend support is at. Yeah, I mean, I see this little range here. Let's see if we can break the range. Gold. Best you can do is drink water. Yeah, I'm trying, man. I'm trying to stick around for the opening. I really am. I'm trying to stick around for the opening. I'm certainly not 100%, man. I'm just not feeling 100%. Better earnings this evening. I'm gonna try to sleep in between. Yeah, all good, chat. I'm trying. I really am trying. I really don't feel great. When I went to bed last night, I had 101. I haven't taken my temperature today, but hey, buddy, here, I'm sick. You don't want to hug me, buddy. Hey, I love you, bud. Have a good day, dude. Love you, man. You feeling okay today, buddy?
Is this a green screen?
What?
Is this a green screen?
Yeah, that's a green screen. I don't ever use it, but it is one. Hey, bud. Hey, I'm sick. You don't want to hang out in here, bud. All right, I love you, man. I don't want you to get sick, buddy. Okay?
Love you.
Love you, dude. All right. Yeah, I'm gonna stick around for the opening bell. We'll see. We'll try to get a couple trades in, and then we're gonna be back for Meta earnings today. So Meta earnings are this evening. Meta earnings drop specifically at 4:05. The expectation is 4:32 for Meta. 4:32 expectation. SPY has kind of turned back around. Tesla's still very strong. Yeah, we made a little bit this morning already. Small. Let me put up a new title here for the stream. I forgot to change the title. Whew. All right, so durable goods are out. We're just kind of sitting tight waiting. All right, so we had the Boeing earnings are out. All right. Top 3 typing skills in the world right now. What else we got? All right, here we go. All right, so we are pulling back in that range that we talked about here. Yeah, I think we could have choppiness today just because today's meta earnings. Cyclomics, what a name. Yeah, we're doing our best here, chat. Ugh, man. Tesla's still pretty strong though on 160s. We got about 25 minutes left until the open. Ugh, seems like it's so long. I'm gonna buy this dip, maybe see if we can get a little bounce. We've already got a cushion on the day, so. Take 4 contracts here, see if we can take a little bit larger size. Maybe 6 if we can add to it. Alright, so we got 6 contracts. Trying to kind of just buy in the bottom of the range and the support, see if we catch a top. I'm trying to be patient and wait. If we lose, it's not the end of the world, though. We're basically flat. But I like this down wick. I was just about to take a little bit of profit and then it reversed. There we go. All right, we're catching the bounce, or a little bit of one now. All right, we just locked it in. Now we're up about 60 bucks on the day. We'll take a little bit more off there. We're up a little bit more than that. All right, so yeah, we're up about $70. We built up a nice little cushion. Here's our P&L this morning. Small little amounts. We're just trying to build up day trading profits. Buy an extension mostly. Like, we got extension on this 3 or 4 or 5 red candles in a row. We're kind of short-term attacking that. Meta drops at 4 p.m. Eastern time today. Yeah, they have a bond auction. I don't think I should drink any more coffee. I'll be right back. I'm gonna go get a thermometer and see what I'm feeling like. Gold technically green on the day, chat. So gold is now technically green. The SPY is at 506. Boeing is at 175. Tesla at 161. So we do have some moves. All right, guys. I'll be right back here, chat. All right, well, my temperature is normal. That's good, I guess. My temp is normal. Look at Boeing spike. So Boeing just spiked up. It's testing highs of the day now. Tesla ripped over the VWAP and the 200 EMA, and now it's pulling back. It's very flat. It's definitely not crashing like somebody insinuated. Again, I'm guessing you would never hear from the person that said it again. Usually they'll be like, yeah, Tesla's going to crash tomorrow. Watch. And then it doesn't. And then it's just kind of crickets, you know. So, hey, I'm just glad I don't have a temperature. I don't know what it means. Hopefully I'm starting to feel better, but... And then you stop drinking. Yeah, I'm not drinking coffee anymore. I stopped. I still got most of my coffee left from this morning. So, like, I'm not even drinking it anymore. All right, thanks, Simply. No, I never took Tylenol. I didn't take Tylenol this morning. Last Tylenol I took was yesterday before the close. Or before I went to bed. I'm using everything in market jargon now. Before the close. Yeah. Been doing this too long. Yeah, the temperature's accurate. I mean, even the temperature's accurate regardless, Jay. Just if I took Tylenol, it's gonna make it go down. Yeah, again, I'm not a big, like, I'll take Tylenol occasionally if I'm feeling really rough or if my temperature is, like, really, really high. You know, when you run a temperature, though, it's your body... It's your body's response to trying to get rid of the virus, right? And how does your body get rid of it? It tries to heat it out, you know? So, like, by lowering your temperature, it stops your body from fighting the virus to a certain extent, you know? So, like, people always take Tylenol. Sometimes taking Tylenol is not the good move. Sometimes you're supposed to run a fever, just as long as it's reasonable. Credit card defaults now higher than '08, but this bull market don't care. Well, it shouldn't care. I mean, that's like, you know. I'm not saying there's no correlation there between credit card debt and stocks, but they're not like... That's kind of like saying, I burned my macaroni and cheese today, but, you know. But my daughter didn't care. She got a good grade on her test. You know. A little bit more correlated than that, if I'm being honest, though. Credit card debt does have a correlation with stocks, but it's not a major one. What will happen with Tesla now, I remember. Bullish reversal. Slows the virus down and slows you down so you have more energy to fight it. I think that's the major purpose. It makes you relax. Yeah, maybe. Well, what happened with Tesla now? I remember the earnings are not as good, but it was the news he uncovered that pushed the market. Yeah, I mean, Tesla, bad outlook, bad earnings, bad metrics, bad EPS and revenue is really what it was. Yeah, you can tell I'm kind of slowing down. I'm cold though, man. It's weird, dude. I'm cold. Like, I'm legit cold. Yeah, I mean, it depends on how big you think robotaxis are going to be regarding Tesla. That's the big thing. Like, how good are robotaxis going to do? And I don't know. Yeah, look, trust me, I'm trying to get to sleep, bro. I'm going to cover the opening bell. We'll probably trade a little bit, and then I'm going to go lay down. Yeah, it's not a stomach virus. I don't know what this is, man. Again, I really don't know what this is. Last night when I went to bed, I had like 101 fever. This morning when I woke up, I felt okay. But now I'm like... My throat doesn't hurt, though. So, like, my sinuses are okay. My throat feels fine. It's weird. Boeing's still testing highs, though. Tesla's still trying to move up. Gold's turned all the way back down, though. Here, chat. Yeah, I don't know. I was sick yesterday. I told my wife I was sick. But again, like, my daughter went to the hospital yesterday. So, like, my illness kind of got overpowered. And justifiably so. You know, my daughter... Again, like, this is... I told the stream much earlier today. But this is the logic. So, 3 weeks ago, I was sick. The characteristics of my illness 3 weeks ago, I was negative for everything. I took a bunch of tests, strep, C-word, flu, all negative on everything. So I didn't have any type of major well-known illness or anything like that. It's probably just a virus. Characteristics of it were like really bad sore throat, 101 fever, headache, like, you know, body aches and chills and stuff like that. And again, that was like my second time being sick in a couple of weeks, man. I'm tired of being sick. I really am. And so anyways, nothing happened to the rest of my family for like 2.5, 3 weeks. And then a week ago, my daughter spikes a 101 fever, has like a really bad sore throat, has a headache, has body aches, same exact symptoms that I had. And so to me, I'm like, okay, well, maybe this is just an illness that has a longer incubation time, right? And so I'm thinking I'm good. I'm like, okay, my daughter's probably got what I had a couple weeks ago. So I can't catch it twice, so I'm going to be immune to it, so I'm good, you know? Anyways, fast forward, she's sick for like 4 days, really kind of lingered. It went away, and then yesterday she spiked another 101 fever, started to have kind of like chest pain. Long story with these freaking urgent clinics. They my wife scheduled an urgent clinic visit, and they went, and then they told him, she was like, yeah, my daughter's having chest pain, like she's worried about her heart, we want to get an EKG and do all this stuff. They're like, okay, that's fine. She schedules, brings my daughter in. Once they get there, and these people just want money, like once they get there, they say, oh, well, our EKG machine's broken. I forgot to tell you our EKG machine's broken. They're like, oh, you can go to one of our other places if you really need an EKG. It's like, yeah, let's not get an EKG, you know, like. But so my wife ends up driving to a different place, schedules it and everything, and then ends up waiting like 30 or 40 minutes there, to a point where my daughter started having like genuine worry about her chest. So then she had to get picked up in an ambulance, and so my daughter rode in an ambulance to a different hospital, and eventually got checked out, and she was fine. But that was my day yesterday, and the whole time I'm running a fever, you know. I told my wife I'm running a fever, and my wife's just kind of like, dude, I feel for you, but you know, we got other stuff we got to worry about right now. That's how it goes for dads. I'm okay with it. And so, yeah, I've basically been running a fever since, like, yesterday. Great.
Yeah. My daughter's okay, I'm pretty sure. I mean, she didn't go to school today, but she felt fine last night. So,
like, I think it was probably anxiety, you know. That's how it goes. I get it.
all right, guys, we got 9 minutes. Appreciate it, guys. I appreciate the kind words, chat. Yeah, that's for real. Yeah. I mean, look, I'm okay with it. I don't need to be, you know. I've been sick over and over again the last freaking 3 months, so I'm okay with it. I just don't feel good right now. Sounds like John is high maintenance. What did I say that made me seem? Do I seem high maintenance? Me saying, hey, you know, we don't have to worry about me. My daughter's been sick. I mean, again, maybe that's high maintenance. I don't know. You know. Yeah, a lot of the time chest pain is stomach related, you know? So, like, if you have indigestion, it might make your chest hurt. Yeah, luckily I run my own business and I can take days off whenever I want. I don't ever choose to, but I can. Trolls are high maintenance. Yeah. Yeah, definitely top 3 in the world. Boeing just spiking up to 177. I don't know whether I should take profit or not. This is kind of what I wanted in it. I'm going to take another little piece off. We're up so much. I might as well. Again, gold bouncing back. Tesla's still consolidating here. Intel spiked today. I forgot I was in Intel. I bought Intel a couple days ago. Boeing, nice. That's good. All right, so we are getting a bounce back up. I think we're still in the top of that, or the bottom of the range, but we're bouncing back up past it now. Market's about to open, though. Tesla at 160s. Gold's still kind of flat. I'm going to put maybe the SPY up here instead. Actually, I'll put up NVIDIA. I think NVIDIA moves the market more than anything. Yeah, that's basically how the conversation went. It was like, yo, I'm running a fever. Be quiet. Could have been worse. I could have had to sit at the hospital with Carol, and so Carol handled it, so that's good. Do you think Tesla holds 160? I have no idea. I hope so. I hope it does. Financial independence, retire early. It depends, though, Nibbles. Like, I understand that movement. Like, I understand that movement of, like, the FIRE movement. I get it. But I think, number one, I think the mistake a lot of people make is this, okay? Like, the financial independence, retire early is a great concept, but I think if you try to retire too early, like, say you save up what, like 200K, you're not gonna be able to live off of 200K for the rest of your life. You're just not. You're not gonna be able to live off of 200K for the rest of your life. Not unless you live your whole life very, very cheap, eating really, really cheap foods, you know, living in really, really small houses. Like, it's just not gonna work like that. Inflation's going to take that money out quick. And so while I understand the independence, retire early community and movement, I think the mistakes that they make is like, number one, the quality of life they're going to have. Like, number one, I'm the type of person that I like work. I like working. I enjoy work. If I wasn't working, I'd probably feel kind of bad, right? Like, if I was just sitting around twiddling my thumb, not doing anything, I'd probably feel kind of bad. You know, human beings by nature, like,
you know, they're not gonna like sitting around doing nothing. As well as like it's gonna hurt your overall like view of yourself, I think. And so it depends on how much you save and what you do there. But yeah, within reason, I guess. Mahogany John, yeah, that's it. Anxiety, yeah, anxiety definitely will do it. My plan is 2 more rental properties and 50K of divvy stocks. 50K of divvy stocks ain't gonna give you that much. Not unless you're taking on really risky investments. The problem with dividends is this: is that like the divvies that pay out the most are the riskiest things to hold. You know, so like the stocks that pay out the biggest returns and dividends are usually like the biggest risk stocks that are dropping 20%, 30% a year. You know what I mean? So you just got to be smart. You're going to earn more in appreciation than you're going to earn in dividends if you just pick the right companies, you know? And I think that's the mentality. Like, that's a better mentality than trying to live purely off of divvies. Divvies could be great, but in order to really live off of divvies, you need like $500,000 or $1 million, you know, give or take. So it's not going to be easy, I guess is the point. Right, you lose motivation, healthy dopamine flow if you sit around, 100%. Tesla chart's right here at the bottom. Take what personally? Right, a hammer without a nail, right. If I have 6,000 in monthly passive income, well, yeah, I mean, anybody, if they have 6K in monthly passive income, you might as well retire. That's enough. As long as you invest some of it, you're not going to, most people don't spend $6,000 a month, you know, depends on their means. Tesla's spiking up to 163s right now, but most people are not going to spend 6K. And so if you save with that 6K and you compound it in that way, then you're going to be fine. But the hard part is getting 6K consistent income without working. You know, that's a hard thing to do. Bonds maybe, you know, but you got to buy a lot of bonds, you know. Let's see. You got to account for inflation. So say you're getting about 5% right now. We're just going to call it 5% for argument purposes, because if you buy a bunch of good price bonds, you can wait for them to spike or whatever. Look at Tesla up to 164s. Let's see if you have $1 million, you're gonna make about 50 grand a year. Yeah, so to make $4,000 a month in bonds, you're gonna need $1 million. Yeah, so it's gonna be hard to do. Rental income, sure, yeah. You're gonna need about 3 rental properties, about 750K, give or take. All right, guys, here's the opening bell chat. Let's see what we get. Tesla spiking up, though, at 165. So where's the guy that said Tesla was going to crash before the opening bell today? He's nowhere to be found. What a shocker. Well, banks, you can find certified deposits. Tiny said, what about banks? You can find CDs, certified deposits. You can find different banks where if you put your money in them and sit, then they'll pay you similar to bonds, but it's just less risk. Your money doesn't get tied up. If you really need the money, you can take it out, you know. So, yeah, I mean, you can find CDs that'll pay. All right, guys, SPY moving up a little bit at the opening bell. Look, we're right at the top of this range. Same range that we drew here. Look at that, rejecting directly off of that range. So, again, this is kind of the highs of the last couple of days here. We'll see if they move markets. Tesla spiking up, breaking highs at 164s. Looking solid here at the opening bell. All right, chat. We're testing the top of this range. Hey guys, I gotta close down my stream. My daughter just called me and she's really not feeling good. Again, if you want to check out Apex, you can day trade with me in this funded account program. We're gonna be back later on for meta earnings, so we do have meta earnings later on. So if you want to check out Apex, again, you can day trade short, buy market, sell market, very similar to day trading stocks and futures. You can day trade the SPY, the Q price action, and the E-mini and the Nasdaq E-mini. No PDT roll in futures. You can day trade short, all that good stuff. No PDT restrictions in futures, and you can day trade as much as you want. Apex gives you a demo. They test your skill. If you can pass the test, they fund you between 25K up to 300K. If you fail the test, then you only lose what you pay for, which is like 30 bucks. Always remember, they're a sponsor of mine. I'm biased. I'm not an investment professional. I'm not liable if you lose. Always do your own assessment. Understand CFTC 4.41. And yeah, I'm gonna get out of here, guys. Again, my daughter's not feeling good. You can check out the link. Use promo code BT, beginner trading BT. If you want to check out the discount, get the max discount at all times on Apex. Great company, great way to learn how to day trade with limited risk. But yeah, I'm gonna get out of here. I love you all. Y'all be safe. Y'all be good. I'll be back later.